All right, so fair warning. It might seem like I'm a little bit upset. That's because I am. What the fuck is this? What is this? What is this? 70,000 members discussing how they have raped their sisters and mothers, offering their wives to be sexually abused, and sharing advice.
I saw this story a few days ago. I read the article on Daily Mail. You guys can go check it out. But this is what I like, how I feel about this type of stuff real quick before we get into it. So I'm trying so hard to get men to understand how prevalent these problems are, right? And I do like these simple like deductions. You know what I'm saying? I'm making these like simple, I don't know, just I try to make it like simple so that men can understand it, because men are pretty simple minded when it comes to these things. So I've posed this question a million times, right? I'll be like, okay, I'll ask the women, there'll be 700-800 people in the room, and I'll be like, hey, let's run a prompt. Let's run a poll. What percentage of women have been SA'd by a man, right? And just in the room, it'll be like, it'll be like 80%. It'll be like, me, or somewhat groped, you know what I mean? Groped, or starting at groped up to just full on, SA, right? So, and I'll be like, okay, now I'm not saying 80% of women have been SA'd. I do think the numbers are astronomically high, but I don't know. I mean, it probably is actually. It's probably closer to 80% if I had to guess. Okay, whatever. So I'm like, all right, so 80% of women or 75% of women have been SA'd. Then what percentage, and then if you run the same poll, what percentage of men do you think have SA? Because of course I can't ask the men in there, like, have you ever SA'd a woman? Like, of course they're not going to say yeah. But if you ran the poll, the same thing. But for men, like, hey, what percentage of men do you think have SA'd women? They would say, 5%, 20%, 40%, 60 or 80%. They'll be like 5%. Because I've literally heard them say, like, oh, only like 1% of men are responsible for 90% of, and like, I'm like, that is not true. It's just not true. If 80% of women have experienced SA, then I put the men who have committed it around 80%. Because the amount of men, I mean, the amount of energy it would take for one man, right, to SA the amount of women it would take for it to not equate to almost a 1-to-1 is astronomically high. Like men just don't understand how much energy and effort you have to, like, it takes to assault a woman, to molest a child, and like things of that nature. Like, you have to like get in, you have to like know the family, like listen to these types of people, listen to them talk about it. They'll tell you, read about it. Like, you guys think that women are just being like, people are just running up on the street and like that's not what's going on. It's men getting women to put their guards down, getting them in vulnerable positions, isolating children from their parents. Like, it takes work, time. No man has that much time to do it to like 100. Like, it would have to be like one man is doing it to like 50 people. And then it could be like one for every, you know what I mean? Like, you guys are freaking nuts if you think one man is doing all of this to, you know what I'm saying? One man is like out here and he's a serial rapist or whatever. Most men who rape aren't serial rapists. They haven't raped like a bunch of women. Like, go look once again. People who molest, they haven't molested like a bunch of children. Like, that's typically not how it works. That's what I'm saying. So you guys really just don't understand how these things work on a fundamental level, right? And that's why when I have these discussions, I'm always trying to have them from this like very elementary, just real stripped down, basic, and like, what do you feel? Like, I don't want it to be like I'm up there just like doing a PowerPoint presentation, because I can do that. I can do that. Every live I can run a PowerPoint presentation for me. right? Maybe I should put together like 2 or 3 of them just to have them, right? Like 2 or 3 major ones, and then I could just run the lives periodic, like the same live. I could just run it back. But anyways, it's an idea. Put a pin in that. But like, I'm trying to get men to resonate with it on an emotional level, right? I want it to connect, with like their logic, right? On their level. I'm trying to meet them where they're at, but they just don't want to see it. But when you see shit like this, man, what do you think? What is your takeaway? 70,000 men willing to get on the internet and do it. So if there's 70,000 men that's willing to talk about it on the internet, imagine all the men who are still afraid to talk about it. Also, I can almost guarantee you that the vast majority of these men have never been reported. Out of the 70,000, probably 65,000 never been reported. Never been reported. For the men that always like to be like, oh, women commit SA more than men because but the women don't report it. As like, sir, stop. Women aren't reporting it either. It just happens so much to women. And the threat of violence is so high when it happens to women. And women are far less, what's the word? Women are more brave than men. I'm just going to put it like that. Women are more brave. So they'll do it against all logic, right? Like they should not. Society has made it to where women should not come forward and report sexual assault. Very rarely does the man get convicted or get punished. B, when they do, they are made into pariahs. They are ostracized. They are turned away. They are pushed out of the community. They're subjected to copious amounts of hate and attacks and all types of other, forms of violence. So it would it almost makes zero sense for women to come forward. So when women do, I'm like, that's brave. Like, they're just brave. Women are just more brave than men. Men don't come forward not because they're afraid of men, like not because they're afraid of like being harmed by a man. They're afraid of what other men are going to say, like men laughing at them. They're not even afraid that men won't believe them because men don't believe them. Not only will men believe men, right? Men will prop those men up if they can. There's definitely a group of men that's going to be like, man, shut up, man. You didn't get, like, even with little boys. Oh, man, when I was 16, I would have given anything. I'd have given my left nut to sleep with Miss Peppercorn. When I was in the 7th grade, I would have loved to hunch on Miss Peppercorn. Like, that's what most men will tell you. Nigga, you lucky, right? We know that. But once they get beyond that, a lot of men will use you as a way. They'll prop you up as a way to, take away from the harm that's being visited upon women.
An investigation has uncovered multiple grape chats where thousands of men discuss how to grape and sexually assault women, including their own mothers and sisters. The groups, which have up to 70,000.
Like I said, it's the men closest to the women, not the random strangers. It's the sons, it's the husbands, it's the fathers.
1,000 members from a variety of countries meet on an encrypted messaging app, Telegram, to share pictures and even live videos of sexual abuse. Members have also claimed to have assaulted their wives and female family members, with some even sharing advice and instructions on how to do it. We need to talk about this. That is fucking insane. And we would have never even found out about it if it wasn't for this motherfucker being a creep in public. He got arrested for filming up women's skirts, and when a psychiatrist took a look at him, he's like, he's too chill about this.
What did we just get? Oh shit. Sorry. What did we just get done talking about, right? What did we just discuss? Not 2 minutes ago in my last video, if you guys don't remember, we just got done talking about this. What does that sound like? So what does that look like? Remember this? We just looked at this. The pyramid of harm. He was filming up women's skirts. Let's see where he's at. Up there it goes right there. Right? street harassment, non-consensual photos right there, or videos. Non-consensual photos or videos. That is what what's her name? Mrs. Pellicoat's husband was doing when they caught him initially, filming up women's skirts, unsolicited photos and videos in public.
Took a look at him, he's like, he's too chill about this. Check his hard drive. And they did. Guess what they found? For the last like fucking 10 years, this dude's been drugging his wife to the point of unconsciousness and letting strangers sexually assault her in their bedroom and filming it. They arrested 50 people, and that wasn't all of them. Some of them, they didn't catch them all. But through this trial, we found out, oh yeah, no, it's a whole network of motherfuckers doing this shit. We just
also want you guys to know, once again, when it comes to like the amount of men that are responsible for these crimes, as you can see, there was one woman and 50 men were arrested. It was probably more men than that did it, but 50 men were arrested. Okay. So one woman, 50 men, right? Women who are SA'd oftentimes are SA'd multiple times. Like it actually makes them more susceptible to being SA'd. So the more a woman is SA'd, the more likely she will be SA'd in the future, just so you know, right? So that means by a different man, not by a same man, by a different man, they're going to perpetrate it. That's what I'm saying. Like when you start to do, it might be more than 80% of men. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever, or 70%. Like the numbers are astronomically high. Astronomically high.
This trial, we found out, oh yeah, no, it's a whole network of motherfuckers doing this shit. We just found some chats with like 70,000 of these motherfuckers. Why am I telling you guys about this? Well, one, I think it's important for people to fucking know what the hell is going on out there. Because I hear so much dismissal from men when women talk about this shit. And a lot of men just vastly underestimate how big an issue this is. So I want y'all to look at this shit and I want something in your head to go, fuck, this is actually a problem. This is actually a problem. That's one thing. Two, I want this conversation to be had. I want more men to talk about this. I want this to be a topic of discussion. Like, have you seen this shit? Have you heard about this? This shit is fucking crazy. Make it an issue. It shouldn't have gotten to these kind of numbers. How many people do you think heard about these group chats and was like, nah, that's just kind of weird. That's not really for me. But they didn't say shit. They didn't make it an issue. When they heard or saw a sign that there was something problematic happening, they didn't make it an issue.
Yep. Let's go back to it. So down there on the bottom, you see normalization, right? That's what he's talking about. Men normalize stuff like that. A part of normalization is not saying anything. A part of normalization is not on here. It doesn't have to be on here, but a part of normalization is not saying anything. If somebody says something that is wildly inappropriate and you don't say anything about it, then wouldn't they naturally surmise that or conclude that it's not inappropriate? Because if it was that inappropriate, somebody would have said something, right? Fine. That's the human reaction to that. That's honestly that's like psychology 101 type shit. If nobody says anything, must be normal, right? Like at some point, it's almost like you can't even blame the people. You see what I'm saying? Like, all right, they say the uncomfortable thing, everybody just goes or nothing, right? And then you wonder why that person escalates and escalates and escalates. Yes, definitely they're to blame for what they've done, but you have to take some culpability. We have to, as a society, and I mean specifically men, we have to take a lot of responsibility for not checking men for saying and doing inappropriate things, no matter how mundane or no matter how mundane it may seem. We got to.
This is actually a problem. That's one thing. Two, I want this conversation to be had. I want more men to talk about this. I want this to be a topic of discussion. Like, have you seen this shit? Have you heard about this? This shit is fucking crazy. Make it an issue. It shouldn't have gotten to these kind of numbers. How many people do you think heard about these group chats and was like, nah, that's just kind of weird. That's not really for me. But they didn't say shit. They didn't make it an issue. When they heard or saw a sign that there was something problematic happening, they didn't make it an issue. So that's the second reason. Third reason is I need the not all men people to shut the fuck up. Either shut the fuck up or get with the program, because I'm sick of y'all shit. the not all men people, the well, what was she wearing people, the men are natural born fucking protectors and providers people, all of y'all, shut the fuck up. I guess nature took a nap on these motherfuckers. These aren't strangers to the women. These are friends and family. These are spouses. People assaulting their sisters and their moms. We need to talk about it. And I'm not saying just talk about this one instance. I'm saying we need to talk about a bunch of shit.
You need to check it. Inappropriate jokes. Definitely check that shit. Sharing, illicit material, right? Like, yeah, man, so much, man. Grading women, ranking women. Man, there's so many little things I could think of. I'm going to put together a list, like I think a more, just like a more detailed list of things that I've seen and I've even done myself for sure. And I'm going to put it out there because it's necessary. And here's the thing. Like I said before, it doesn't mean just because you've done any of these things or a few of these things or whatever of these, it doesn't mean that you're going to rape a woman. Like that's not what we're saying. But we're saying that if you aren't, since you aren't going to rape a woman, could you then make sure to, stop other men from doing it? You know what I mean? Like by checking them when they do inappropriate shit. Super easy. You're not going to do it, but you don't. I get it. But you definitely don't get to, I'm a man, I protect. You don't get to do that if you're not actually out here checking other men.
These people didn't spring up out of nowhere. They were socialized to be like this. Our society keeps making these people because we're not having enough conversations about consent. We're not having enough conversations about the way men view women, about the way men view sex. We need to talk about this shit. And if you want videos on these topics, on all of these topics, I've already made them. They're already available. They're on my YouTube, but I'm going to make playlists. I'm going to organize them in such a way that it's.
Let me go back a little bit.
These are friends and family. These are spouses. People assaulting their sisters and their moms. We need to talk about it. And I'm not saying just talk about this one instance. I'm saying we need to talk about a bunch of shit. Because these people didn't spring up out of nowhere. They were socialized to be like this. Our society keeps making these people because we're not having enough conversations about consent. We're not having enough conversations about the way men view women, about the way men view sex.
The way that men view sex is through the lens of porn. Like, just to put it bluntly, men view sex like they're porn stars. They're like POV porn star. Like that's how they view sex. That's how they view sex. And that's another reason why a lot of this stuff happens, because a lot of their fantasies come from porn, right? A lot of the fantasies that men have come from porn. So when he was talking about men, sleeping with their mothers and sleeping with their sisters, go. I don't know if you guys have been on any porn site recently, but go to the hub or whatever. I don't know, go wherever you go and just go look, go start looking at the most popular videos. Go look at the one, like it is pretty much all fucking stepsister, stepbrother, sister, brother, father, daughter, mother, stepmother, son, you know what I mean? Like school teacher and student, pupil, schoolgirl dressed in school, like that's always been the thing, but it's just like fucking exploded recently with the whole like incest thing, right? And they do it by just they rationalize it by saying step. That's how they try to like get away with it, right? Like, oh, that's your stepbrother. Like, I mean, technically you're not, but it's the same concept. There's this person that is under your roof that it is wildly inappropriate for you to be sleeping with them, right? Wildly inappropriate for you to be sleeping with them. They're under your roof, right? But they don't, you know what I'm saying? Like the men are like too charged up from the porn, living too much in this fantasy world, too much. And that's how men see, their sexual escapades playing out in 2024. Far too many men.
Need to talk about this shit. And if you want videos on.
Oh, also, my fault. Consent. Men don't understand consent. They don't understand consent. I've had so many discussions with men surrounding the concept of coercion. And I'll be like, have you guys ever asked a woman to sleep with you, the same woman, more than once? And most of the men will cop to that and be like, yeah. And I'm like, now I'm not saying that that is coercion, right? Like, I'm not going to say that. Depends on the circumstances. But what I'm asking is, when a woman is in your, like present, you guys are making out, you guys are kissing, whatever you're doing, touching each other, but she doesn't want to go, she doesn't want to go all the way, quote unquote, right? What I'm asking men is, do you or have you ever asked a woman, come on, baby, come on, please, just let, as soon, I don't, honestly, bro, no matter what happens after that, it's coercion. No matter what. She didn't change her mind. You didn't convince her. You just made her feel uncomfortable. And so she decided to do it. Dude, that shit happens. I want people to understand. I'm not even saying like that's illegal, like whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some people would argue that, because I know that that's happened in relationships. Like, it ain't like the women are like, yeah, I'm going to leave. Like, but I'm saying that men and women have been conditioned to just tolerate men being fucking Pepe Le Pew. You know what I'm saying? Like, men being Pepe Le Pew is like, that's women expected and men do it. That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to get a grip on it, to really get a gauge on like what's really going on, because it's so prevalent, and women even like quote unquote participate in it to some extent. You know what I'm saying? The part that they play is, it's not the allowing the man to do it, but it's the afterwards, like women just act like it's normal. Like, they're just like, whatever, I gave him some. He begged me last night and I gave him some. You know what I mean? Like, they don't like, but in a healthy world, if a man were to do that, like, everybody they'd be like, what the fuck? She said no, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that should be the reaction. Like the woman she should feel like afterwards, like, what the fuck? I don't want to be with any man that's like asking me to fucking have sex with him over and over and over again. Ugh, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but like I said, we're all programmed. All of us are propagandized. All of us. But men don't understand shit about consent.
On these topics, on all of these topics, I've already made them. They're already available. They're on my YouTube, but I'm going to make playlists. I'm going to organize them in such a way that it's extremely easy to find, because I need y'all to look at the shit. If you want to call yourself a protector, if you want to call yourself an ally, if you want to call yourself whatever the fuck, I don't care about these titles. They don't matter to me. But if you actually genuinely give a shit about the safety of the women in your lives and women in general, then this is the first step. Protecting women isn't about waiting in the wings until some dude shows up and tries to swing on them and you swoop in and save the day. That's not what it is. It's this. This is the real shit. Mm-hmm. Real protection is creating an environment where they don't need protection. Mm-hmm. This shit is fucking insane.
This shit is real protection is men themselves not being violent. Like, that's the first, like, if I don't care, not to say I don't care, but I would be way, way happier. Like, if every man just worked on themselves, and we wouldn't need to check each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, if 80% of men or 70% of men were just like, I'm going to work on myself, we'll be fine. We'll be great.
It's the end of the year, and I really genuinely hope that next year we have significantly more people, especially men, talking about this on podcasts and in videos and skits and shit. Fuck it. Like, I really hope that this gets hammered home to a point where this is actually something that people talk about. Because I think if we just keep on dismissing it and keep on boys will be boys and keep on, well, someone's always going to be like that, and keep on just making all these fucking excuses and not really tackling the problem. I think if we keep on doing that, it's never going to stop, right? It's never even going to slow. This is crazy, right? I think that if we genuinely create an environment where this kind of conversation is had and these kinds of things are talked about and people actually learn some shit, learn about consent and fucking, get rid of a lot of these misogynistic ideas of the way that we view women and what's cool to do to them and say to them and shit like that. I think if we actually talked about this stuff, less of this would happen. I really genuinely believe that.
100%, 1,000%. It would pretty much all but stop if we were to do that. Let's just be honest. The power is in our hands as men, and I honestly think next year. Just side note, I do think in the next coming years, I do think that a lot of men are going to start. The red pill ideology isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I've been hearing like rumblings of that. I don't agree with that because look at what just happened during the election. look at the Nick Fuentes quote. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think the red pill ideology is going anywhere. Maybe the term might go away because it's been dragged through the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how when they co-opt shit like woke, and then people just kind of like stop using woke or whatever. But it was cool to say you was woke. And in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s, it was cool to say you was woke. Now it's not. Now it's weird. Now, you know what I mean? Now you feel icky if you say it or whatever. And that's what they want to do. They want to take words and take all the power out of them, right? But I think that moving forward, I can see like a backlash. I could see like a reversal. I could see like a pushback against a lot of the red pill ideology and rhetoric because I think it's just going to be so, how do I say this? It's going to be so uncool, like moving forward. You're going to see more like, because women are pushing back against it harder and harder and harder, right? So I'm saying like, I think that a lot of men are going to start picking up on that. And I could really see a lot of men like transitioning and starting to at least say it out loud, right? Like, I don't know if their actions will change behind closed doors, but I can see a lot of men actually starting to like talk about it at least. And that's the first step. That's at this point, shit, man, let's get a dub or we can get a dub, right?